What's up, guys? Kevin here, and today I'm going to be sharing my credit story. This is everything that I've done to get to this point in my life where my credit is very good, actually. But I can honestly say it has not always been this way. I've had a lot of issues in the past. I was very ignorant to how credit worked, and I just want this to be a space where we can all be open and honest about our story and how we learned through our mistakes, because I definitely had to learn the hard way. So there was a long way up. I found out probably at the worst time when I went to buy a house how important my credit was. But thankfully, I was able to recover and get to this point where I'm at now. So I just kind of wanted to break down that stigma and be honest with you guys on how far I've come. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Also, if you want to hear more conversations like this, be sure to subscribe to the channel. I'll be talking more about financial freedom, being your own boss, and just kind of how you can get things in control so that you can reach your future goals. So stick around for more, but let's jump into the topic. So I can honestly say that I've always known that credit was a thing, but I never really considered it something that would hold me back. Thankfully, when I went to college, I was able to get a scholarship, so nothing really impacted me then. And then when I got out of school, I still had my car that I had driven through high school, so everything was pretty chill. But I decided to get my first credit card, and that was when I decided I want to at least have a good long credit history. That was something that I had heard from friends, so I wanted to get a credit card that I could keep forever. So I went to Kohl's. Yes, my first credit card was for Kohl's, and it was somewhere that my parents always shopped, and I didn't know if I would really shop there or not, but I just felt like it was something that would stand the test of time and I could have that credit card forever. And to this day, it is the oldest credit card in my wallet. So even though I'm not necessarily a common Kohl's shopper, that is a credit card that I keep on my credit history to help support the age of my credit. Now, I got that around April of 2011, and a couple of months later, my high school car died. I'd put a lot of miles on it driving back and forth between school and home, and then eventually I had two issues within like 2 months. One of them was on the way to an interview and it left me stranded. So at that point, I said, I'm done with this car. I'm going to buy something new. Now, I was making pretty good money, so I felt like I could get a nicer car. So I went and looked for a car. I think it was around $18,000 at the time. Applied for a loan and I was declined. They told me I needed a co-signer. But I figured, I had just gotten this credit card. A lot of stuff you're not able to do if you don't have a lot of credit history, so that's fine. I didn't really worry about it too much. Thankfully, my parents have really good credit, so they were able to co-sign with me, and I was able to get the loan on that car. Now, the car for me was very exciting. It was a Volkswagen Jetta, and I really loved German cars, and I am kind of a car guy. So when I saw this car, all I saw was opportunity. I wanted to modify it, put wheels on it, beef it up a little bit and just make it look more like what I want it to look like. And so I started modifying it, and I actually got another credit card, and eventually they raised my credit card limit, and it got to a point where my credit card limit was $9,000. And what was the first thing I did? Max it out. I know this happened to a lot of people, so I'm not ashamed to say it, but I maxed out that credit card like it was nobody's business, and I bought a bunch of car parts and stuff. And eventually, when I put everything on the car, I realized that I was able to pay off my credit card, but I didn't have to. It would build up a little bit of interest each month, but I could charge a little bit to it every month, pay off what I charged, and it would be fine. I could leave, $4,000 or $5,000 of revolving debt and never have to worry about paying that off. I don't know why that made sense in my mind, but it did at the time. So that's what I did for about 3 years. I was literally leaving $5,000 or $6,000 on my credit card, and every $1,000 or $2,000 that I would charge throughout the month, I would just pay it off and then continue moving on. Because who wants to make a huge $4,000 or $5,000 payment and just take that out of my account? I didn't want to do that. But of course, this eventually caught up with me, and it was on the day of 2014 where I got in a pretty bad accident. The car was sideswiped and it was totaled out, so I had to buy a new car. Now, they cut me a check for the car, but again, being a car guy, I wanted something a little nicer, a little newer, so I decided to splurge a little bit. And when I went to apply for a car loan, they denied me again, and I thought, why? I haven't done anything wrong. And they basically said I had too much revolving debt, and unless I paid off that credit card and closed the account, they weren't going to extend me a loan for my car. So that's when I realized that this was actually a problem. And what I ended up doing was taking out a personal loan. It put me on regular monthly installments to pay off that debt. And then they gave me the car loan I was looking for the car that I wanted to buy. So at this point, I lost the credit card. I have the car loan that I just opened up and a new personal loan that I also have to pay off as well. So that was a little bit frustrating, but I guess that was kind of my first reality check. But it didn't really hit home until a couple years later. Eventually, I met my wife, we got married, and we decided we wanted to buy a house. So in 2016, I started applying for mortgages. And again, I didn't really care too much. I knew my credit probably wasn't perfect, but I figured as long as I can get approved for the amount that I know I can pay, that's good enough. So I went ahead and applied for a loan, and I think one of the companies did this on purpose, but they sent me a full matrix of all the different interest rates I would get for different credit score ranges and how much I would pay per month for the home that I was looking at buying. And where my credit score landed, it was a 633. Now, this was a problem for a couple different reasons. I know a lot of people have lower credit scores, but at that time, the credit company I was applying to had a minimum requirement of 640. So I didn't qualify for their loan, but what they did is they actually pulled my credit through 3 different credit bureaus, and then they took the one in the middle, and that put me at 643. So I was just able to edge in and qualify for their lowest loan package. But that lowest tier was very bad compared to the highest tier. I actually realized I was going to be paying $200 more per month just because my credit score wasn't as good. And that's when I realized that this was really a problem. And that's when I kind of snapped out of it and said, I need to fix this immediately because that money's not going anywhere. I'm just getting a higher interest rate because they see me as a bigger risk. That's it. And so I was like, I know I can pay for this loan. I know I can afford this house. We really fell in love with the house, so we took the loan. But I said, before we move again, I need to make sure that I fix this once and for all. So at this point, I signed up for Credit Karma. They gave me my credit score and showed me some ways where I could actually fix my credit. And the first thing I did, I know it sounds scary with my history, but I opened 2 more credit cards. Now, the good thing is these were cashback cards, so they actually made a lot of my spending cheaper. And I was very focused on making sure I could pay off these cards every month. So while I paid off the debt on my previous credit cards that I had racked up, now I have new credit cards that I pay off every month, and I never have revolving debt. I never pay interest, and I've had these cards till this day. I also went through and I had 2 negative remarks on my credit history, so I was able to go back to those companies and dispute those negative remarks, and they both got wiped off. So now I've got 100% on-time credit history, 100 on-time payments, and everything is looking much better. And immediately my credit score jumped up 100 points. I was over 700. I was so excited, and I really didn't know what to do. I wasn't actually planning on doing anything with it, but it put me in a much better position. Then, surprise, I got a new job and I had to move. Literally a year after, I had to move and I buy a new house. And this was when it all kind of came together because for once I was able to go back to this company, apply for another mortgage, and qualify for their highest mortgage package, which gave me the lowest interest rates, the most money back. It was just the best package for me. And I was just very grateful that I kind of figured it out at that point because now I'm able to qualify for a lot more credit cards, get much lower interest rates, and everything just works a lot better. I'm able to leverage my money a lot more effectively. I'm able to manage my money a lot better. And I just know that regardless of where the numbers line up, yes, they have a meaning, but I know regardless of that, I am in a better financial position. I am being more responsible with my money. I have a much better outlook on how things will be in the future. I have, savings built up. I just have a much better, well-rounded financial situation compared to where I was before. So very happy to have gotten here. I guarantee you, if you're watching this video, you can get there too. If you want to hear more about my ideas on how to improve your credit for free, maybe you want to know more about those 2 credit cards I opened up and kind of reviewing those or anything in between, definitely stick around because again, we'll be continuing this discussion for as long as I can come up with ideas here. So yeah, I think that's all we had for today. Thank you guys for stopping by. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.